Good evening, everyone, from the campus, well, I should say, not on the campus of Sacred Heart Catholic High School in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. It's time for Sumrall Bobcat Football. I'm Kelly Sander, glad to have you along on this rather moist Friday evening. In fact, the moisture caused a change of venue for this contest, originally slated to be played at Sumrall in the home opener for the Raw Cats, but because of all the rain the field took at Sumrall this week, and it really didn't drain. So the game was moved here to Sacred Heart, so it'll be 2 years in a row now that Sumrall has come to Sacred Heart. Bobcats come in here undefeated at 2-0, looking to make it 3-0 on the year as we get ready for tonight's contest. Sacred Heart wearing gray pants with blue uniforms. The Raw Cats will be in their white again, all white, the white helmets, the white jerseys, and the white pants. So Sumrall now 3 straight on the road, as it turns out. And that's the bad news. The worst news is when you look at the weather forecast for next week, there's an 80 to 90% chance of rain every single day next week. So if the field at Sumrall didn't get a chance to dry out today, it appears that more rain, and a substantial amount of rain, is on its way next week when Sumrall is scheduled to be at home against Enterprise. So Mother Nature throwing a monkey wrench into things here for Sumrall, but the Bobcats no worse for the wear, 2-0 with a victory last week against the Wesson Cobras. That game played at Colin. Billy Garrity, the injured quarterback for Sumrall, who joined us last week, will probably be joining us Mike's side, but right now he's got more important things to tend to, like a coin toss in the middle part of the field, where the Sumrall faithful along the far sidelines. Not a great deal of seating here for road teams, but remember that Sacred Heart, a 1A classification, is one of the smaller schools in the state. Usually not a lot of teams make the road trip. When you look at that district that Sumrall is in, you've got the likes of Stringer and Lumberton and East Marion. I mean, it's a Resurrection Catholic is also in that district. So very, very tough sledding for Sacred Heart. They come into the game winless at 0-2, Sumrall 2-0 here on this Friday, the weekend of college football opening. Southern Miss will be at home tomorrow against Jackson State. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff. But again, perhaps some rain in the offing for your tailgate party or whatever plans you might have this weekend. Sumrall Bobcat Football on the web, brought to you by Sumrall Lawn Care. Though football season is in the fall, Sumrall Lawn Service is busy every season. We'll be telling you about them during the webcasts. Also, by your State Farm insurance agent, Stacy Clark Temple, who sees your home and cars as things you work really hard for, and she wants to help you protect them. Stacy Clark Temple, your State Farm agent, providing you with our webcasts this year. The Grand Bank Halftime Show comes your way at half tonight. Stan Caldwell, former writer for the Hattiesburg American and sports information director for Pearl River Community College, who's covering this game tonight as part of his new blog. He'll be joining us. Dandy Dan's Chevron in Bellevue and Sumrall, also sponsors of our webcasts, and sponsoring the offensive and defensive players of the game are Hattiesburg Clinic Children's Clinic, Dr. April Gilmore, who when she was a student at Sumrall was April McGilvery. Well, now she's Dr. Gilmore, and glad to be with us on our webcasts this year. The lights are on here at Sacred Heart, even though just 7 o'clock. Very, very muggy, not a very high temperature, but very muggy. And here come the Bobcats now to our right, as they will occupy that far side of the field. Good, healthy number for Sumrall. But again, on the injury front, Billy Garrity, the quarterback, out for the year. He had that labrum surgery early, and Zane Berry, it appears, is out for at least a couple weeks. Berry with a MCL injury. It's not the ACL, so that's the good news. But the MCL will keep him out of action. We await the arrival of the Crusaders, who will come on the field to our left, and then we'll get this one underway, as this was the anticipated home opener for Sumrall. But because Sumrall is the home team, even though it's being played at Sacred Heart, the scoreboard will actually read Sumrall being the home team. And here come the Crusaders now as they bust through their tarp and coming to the near side of the field. The Bobcats won the toss and deferred the choice to the second half, so Sumrall will be kicking away. Bryson Smith will be booting it from right to left. And of course, those of you that watched the game last week at Wesson saw the disaster special teams play for Sumrall, especially on kickoff. So in meeting with the media on Tuesday, I talked with Coach Shannon White, and he said we're beyond embarrassed and beyond mad about it. We just have to get to work on special teams. So we'll see how the Bobcats block on the kickoff returns this year. And one of the headlines of this Sumrall team is that the defense has not given up a single point. All the points allotted this year by the Bobcats have come on kickoff returns. It's unusual lots of times for teams to give up 3 kickoff returns in a season. Sumrall has done it in 2 games. So they'll be the first ones to admit that that's an area that they need to tighten up. Bryson Smith waiting to be able to kick this one away. Tanner Blakeney, the starting running back for Sacred Heart, is back to receive the kick. It's a squibber, fielded at about the 25-yard line. And making the stop there is Hayden Barrett, the first one down the field for Sumrall. Making the modest return is Cole Pipkins, the sophomore for Sacred Heart. So 1st and 10 for the Crusaders. That might be one way to skin a cat, so to speak, is to kick a low liner and not let the field spread out, as it were, on a kickoff return. So 1st and 10. Again, the Crusaders working left to right, or west to east here on the field. Cole Pipkins was the man returning that ball. Handoff up the middle from Zach Wetherell, the quarterback, and getting some pretty good yardage. It looked like he was hit at the line of scrimmage.
Breaking tackles for a first down, Sacred Heart.
So a nice gain on the play. Up to about the 48-yard line. We might have some troubles with numbers tonight because the Crusaders' uniforms actually haven't gotten here in time for the season, a point of frustration for Coach Lonnie Schrader. So they've kind of been mixing and matching uniforms, and even some of the old players at Sacred Heart were asked, look, we know the jersey might be in the drawer and has been for a couple years, but can we have it for the next week or so until our jerseys get back? Wetherell fakes the handoff. He will run it himself around the end inside the 50 to about the 48-yard line. Picks up about 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Upcoming, just underway with 11:16 left to go here in the first quarter, the first possession of the night. So 1st and 10, not actually 2nd down and about 5 at the 48-yard line. That's Blakeney in the backfield, yes? No. Crowder split to the right, and they hand it to him off left tackle, but the Bobcats are there to stuff it. So Garrett Crowder. It did look like a late flag, but I think that some kids are kind of playing some games along that far side, so I don't know if it's a beanbag or what, but it is a flag against Sumrall apparently. So big Garrett Crowder, one of the seniors on this team. It's a personal foul against Sumrall. So that marches it all the way down to the 36-yard line. So the Crusaders on the move here. So Tanner Blakeney, who runs a lot for Sacred Heart, he is in the jersey number 4 that you see to the near side. And Crowder, the big running back, wearing 38. You see Crowder split to the right of Zach Wetherill. Wetherill, a senior. Rolls to his right. Here comes the house for Sumrall. Passing, and the pass is caught down at about the 26-yard line. Gabe Nacken with the catch at about the 26-yard line. Nice play. The Crusaders moving the football on this Sumrall defense. Very few teams have this year. Again, the only points given up by Sumrall have been on special teams. So 2nd down and a yard after the gain of 1. Weather forecast not looking good, as mentioned, for the next 7 days or so. Hopefully, although they had some rain here this afternoon, this beautiful turfed field at Sacred Heart drains very well. So out there they play. Wetherill, the quick pass. That's Blakeney. Gets hit initially, but then surges forward down to about the 21-yard line. That'll be enough for the 1st down. On the tackle for Sumrall is Gabe Cocroft. Crusaders have a 1st down at the Rawcat 21-yard line from the far hash mark, working left to right. We'd love to know where you're watching the game from tonight and where you're joining us. Don't forget to shoot us a text at 601-310-7077. That's 601-310-7077. Keep that number on file and check in with us every Friday night. We'll give you a shout out here on the cast. Crowder is stacked up, now pitches back to the quarterback, but that is a bad idea because the Bobcats sniffed it out, particularly Nigel Coleman, who was there on the quarterback, Wetherill, who took the pitch. So a loss on the play, and a big loss, makes it 2nd and about 17 for the Crusaders. Clock moving with 9:23 left to go here in the 1st quarter. The Bobcats have yet to touch the football offensively. Nine minutes, 9 seconds left to go. Wetherill wants to throw. Can't find anybody. And down he goes, back at the 38-yard line. A couple of Bobcats in there include Justice Hanbury and Solomon Landrum. They each get credit for half a tackle there, and the Crusaders have it stuck in reverse here now. 3rd down and long upcoming as they got down inside the Sumrall Lawn Care red zone, but the Sumrall defense rising up here. 3rd down and forever. They'll try to run it here. A penalty marker comes down. Crowder was hit immediately and taken down by Hanbury, who's already having a good game, but a penalty marker in the interior of the defensive line. Varnado for Sumrall pointing toward the Crusaders.
It is procedure against Sacred Heart.
So it is against the home team.
Where it will still be 3rd down.
So Sacred Heart back another 5 yards. So 3rd down and another zip code here for the Crusaders. 4 consecutive plays have negative results, figuratively and literally. So here we go. Clock moving with 8:05 left to go in the 1st quarter. Wetherill on the handoff. They try the sweep, but immediately gobbled up is Garrett Crowder. Leading the onslaught there for Sumrall is Devin Goolsby, the senior linebacker, makes the stop. So the Bobcats have a 4th down and forever. Or check that, the Crusaders a 4th down and forever, and they'll have to kick it away. Hayden Barrett will be back to return it at about the 10-yard line.
Hayden Barrett back deep, receiving the punt for Sumrall.
Crusaders hurrying to make sure that they don't have too many men on the field before they kick this one away. It's a low snap, but fielded well, and a nice kick that will be fielded by Barrett on the run at about the 10-yard line. Trying to get to the near side of the field, now cuts it back. Looking for some blocking and carrying a couple of Crusaders with him, but gets up to about the 20-yard line.
Barrett returns the ball to about the 20-yard line, where
And that's where Sumrall will start now with its first offensive series of the night. No score here tonight at Sacred Heart.
You can do it. Serving part-time in the Air National Guard. Text play.
Dennis Jackson at quarterback. Bobcats scheduled
to speak with recruiters. That's once again text play.
To be at home next week against Enterprise, but again, they were supposed to be at home here tonight, but because of the moisture at the field. Glenn Allen is watching tonight from home. His son is Josh Allen on the Sumrall team. Glad to have Mr. Allen with us. Would love to hear from you as well. 601-310-7077. So Dennis Jackson with Tyreek Preston to his left. Gives it to Preston. Sweeps the right side. Preston looking for some blocking. Does get some. Up across the 35 up to about the 38-yard line. Josh Allen's fan club is checking in tonight. His sister Kirsten checking in, saying how proud they are of him. Raymond McRaney watching tonight. Raymond, class of 76, Sumrall High School, checking in. Always glad to have Raymond McRaney with us. Big Bobcat fan. 1st and 10 for Sumrall. Football at the 38-yard line. Sumrall working from east to west, or right to left here on the field. Handoff to Tyreek Preston. Little slant play inside. Preston trying to work to the outside. Protects the football. But a penalty marker comes down at about the 46. That's usually an illegal block or a hold against the offensive team. We'll see what the call is here. As Charles Green keeps... Charles Green, the white hat tonight, is signaling to the opposite side of the press box. We'd love to get to him and say, Charles, the press box is over here. So the holding call goes against Sumrall, and it'll march the football back to about the 37.5-yard line with 6:21 left to go here in the first quarter. There will be heat timeouts, as there always are, until we get to the month of October. This, the Labor Day weekend. If you have plans, certainly be careful if you're out and about this weekend. Again, this opener tomorrow for Southern Miss at home against Jackson State. Dennis Jackson rolls to his right, wants to throw, does, and the pass is caught. Nice catch there by Cronin. Matthew Cronin down inside the 40 to about the 38-yard line. So Cronin with the catch. Jackson had plenty of time to make the throw with 5:58 left to go here in the first quarter. The Bobcats move the chains. Looking to the far sideline. 3 or 4 coaches there dressed in blue. Decoy signals being sent in along with a live set of signals. And, of course, only the players supposedly know which ones are live. 1st and 10. Jackson, a little swing pass out here. Pass is caught by Cocroft. Cocroft weaving his way through traffic. Here comes another flag down. Cocroft racing toward the end zone is pushed out at about the 5, and we've got 2 penalty markers down.
And once again, it's holding on Sumrall.
It is a hold against the Bobcats. So a big play there by Cocroft will be negated. And getting a little bit too frisky on that line are the Sumrall linemen. So this one will come back, a spot foul. But the Bobcats moving the ball well here in its first series with 5:31 left to go in the first quarter. Cronin to the far side of the field. On the near side, Liam Munn, a sophomore wide receiver. They usually take that heat timeout with about 5 to 6 minutes left in the first quarter. But there's only 8 seconds left on the play clock. Sumrall better hurry up. Now it's down to 4, 3, 2. Jackson takes the snap, fakes the handoff, and he'll run it himself. He's got all kinds of room to the far side of the field. Jackson to the outside of the 20, cuts it inside the 10 to the 5. Dennis Jackson is into the end zone for a Bobcat touchdown. No flags on the play. So Dennis Jackson, the linebackers have to respect that potential handoff. And when he pulled it out of Preston's gut and ran it himself, he found all kinds of room to that right side. So the Bobcats draw first blood, and Bryson Smith on to add the extra point. Snap is down, this kick is up, and this kick is good. With 4:56 left to go in the first quarter, the Sumrall Bobcats lead the Sacred Heart Crusaders 7-0. Kickoff coming up in a moment. One of our sponsors is Sumrall Lawn Service, and again, though it is football season, and it's a very busy season, the pros at Sumrall Lawn Service are very busy every season, whether it's moving, or check that, mowing, edging, tree trimming, or bush hogging. Richie and Jim Sumrall have over 20 years of experience making your lawn be something you can be proud of. Like the Bobcats on the field, Sumrall Lawn Care knows what it takes to win and how to make your landscape a winner. Sumrall Lawn Care salutes Bobcat Graham Freeman and wishes him luck this season. Proud supporters of the Bobcats, Sumrall Lawn Care, sponsors of the Bobcat Red Zone. So you missed the end of that run by Dennis Jackson. We kind of keep forgetting that we need to move this camera to follow the action. So Bryson Smith, who's just signed a 4-year contract, so to speak, with Sumrall, he will kick it away. Short kick to the far side of the field. Fielded there by Cole Pipkins again, and he goes down at about the 31-yard line. And you think, well, the 31, that's good starting position, and it might be pretty decent starting position, but it's better than teams running it all the way back, which has been the case the last couple of weeks for the Sumrall defensive teams. And we've got their heat timeout on the field now with 4:53 left to go. Coming up in the second quarter, we'll be giving you our rock and roll trivia question brought to you by your State Farm agent, Stacy Clark Temple. It's not just a home or a car. It's the 6 months you saved for the HD flat screen just in time for football season. And the overtime you worked for that third car so your teen can drive themselves to school, while other insurance companies just see them as a bundle or a combo. State Farm agent Stacy Clark Temple sees your home and car as things you really work hard for. Stacy Clark Temple understands what your things really mean to you and is here to help you give them the protection they deserve. Talk to State Farm agent Stacy Clark Temple in Sumrall for your home and auto insurance today. Gary and Kim Dean are in Sumrall watching the Bobcats tonight. Glad to have the Dean family along with us, because I see where actually some of the Sumrall fans have moved to this side of the field, the Sacred Heart side, because there just was no room. The seats on the other side were filled early. 1st and 10 for Sacred Heart. Wetherell, a quick pass, caught by Blakeney, but he got hammered immediately after the pickup of about 6 yards. Nigel Coleman on the stop for Sumrall. So Wetherell quickly pulling the trigger there for a gain on the play with 4:37 left to go. And again, you did text us and let us know that you missed the end of Dennis's run, and we're going to do the best we can at making sure that that camera will move for you. So clock moving with 4:21 on a 2nd down and 4. Wetherell again at quarterback. He's a senior. They give it to Crowder. Crowder is stacked up the line of scrimmage, and the ball is stolen by Solomon Landrum. And Landrum started to run to the end zone, but apparently the whistle blew to stop his forward progress, and that's where the play was downed. So minimal gain on the play, but Landrum thought he had himself a fumble recovery and started racing toward the end zone. So 3rd down and about 4 now for Sacred Heart. The Crusaders, an unanticipated home game, although on the scoreboard they are listed as the visitors. Clock moving. You see it there in the upper left-hand part of your screen. Sumrall with a 7-0 lead. Wetherell surveys the Sumrall defense. Bobcats show blitz. They hand it off left side to Crowder, and he is submerged.
Crowder off left tackle for no gain.
Cole Daniels, Solomon Landrum, Justice Hanberry, a pretty formidable defensive front for Sumrall. There to make the stop, and the punting unit will come in again, led by Carson Hall. Back to receive it for the Rawcats is Hayden Barrett at about the 30-yard line. Hayden Barrett, a very athletic, not very tall, but man, is he quick. Another good snap. no pressure by Sumrall. They'll try to return this one. Good kick to the far side of the field. Barrett falls on top of it at about the 30-yard line and then steps out of bounds. He didn't mean to step out of bounds, but in trying to gain possession of the ball, that foot got on the sideline. So Sumrall will start 1st and 10 with 2:44 left to go in the first quarter. Sumrall still wondering what it's like to play a home game. Coming up on the Grand Bank Halftime Show, we'll be talking with former Hattiesburg American sports writer Stan Caldwell. He's also been the sports information director at Pearl River Community College, now doing his own high school sports blog. So we'll talk with Stan coming up on the Grand Bank Halftime Show. 1st and 10.
There's the snap. It's a handoff to Preston up the middle.
Tyreek Preston across the 35 up to about the 38-yard line. I think that'll be about where forward progress is met, but that's a pickup of 7. 2nd down and 3. The feet of Dennis Jackson came up with a big touchdown run in the first quarter. But they also had a big play by Cronin on a pass reception. A nice run by Preston got called back on a hold. 2nd down and 3. Preston again tries the right side, and whistles blow before the play can develop. And boy, so far a lot of penalty flags thrown here. Charles Green and his staff have had to navigate it, and the Crusaders were offsides. Crusaders were over the line, so it'll cost them 5.
That's an encroachment penalty on Sacred Heart.
2:02 left to go here in the first quarter. Sumrall gets an easy 5 there, and it didn't cost him a play. But that will move the chains. And that's all Shannon White wants his offense to do, is just keep moving the chains.
Jackson gets the signals.
See Christian Clinton on that offensive line for Sumrall on 1st down. Jackson on the give and go. It's Preston again. Preston down, rambling his way across the midfield stripe down to the 45-yard line before he was tripped up there by Carson Hall. That'll move the chains again for Sumrall. 1st and 10 at the Crusader 45-yard line. Glad that you're with us tonight. We mentioned Southern Miss opens the season tomorrow, but clearly the game all of America wants to see is Iowa State and South Dakota State. Don't you think, Wolfman? That's the one everybody wants to see. At least I do, you know. 1st and 10 for the Bobcats. Jackson, quick pass out, and again, penalty markers come down.
More laundry on the field. Busy night for the rest tonight.
Goodness gracious. And this is against Sumrall.
Penalty against Sumrall. That'll back them up 5. It'll be 1st and 15.
So both teams have been just a little bit sloppy here on both sides of the ball. But Sumrall's been penalized with some holding calls. Even had a personal foul earlier in the quarter with 1:18 left to go here in the first. So to reset the table for you, it's 1st and 15. From the far hash mark in front of the Sumrall bench, Tyreek Preston tries to get the yardage back, follows his blockers, weaves his way down to about the 39-yard line before Crowder wrapped him up. So plenty of plays to go to on 2nd down here. Shannon White, the head coach and offensive coordinator. Coach Fortenberry handles the defense. And I kind of joked with the coaches this week. I said, well, who's responsible for the special teams? And ironically, none of the coaches raised their hands after the 2 kickoff returns last week by the Cobras. 29 seconds left to go. Dennis Jackson wants to throw. He has a receiver. It's caught at about the 20-yard line, and then wrapped up immediately after making the catch is Tyler Daniels, the freshman receiver.
Gibbs on the tackle.
So Tyler Daniels with a nice snag. Gives Sumrall a 1st down at the football actually dissecting the 20-yard line. And this upcoming play might be the last play of the first quarter. There we go. Now that camera's moving so you can see that side of the field. Appreciate you doing that, Wolfman, because we'd have been getting texts saying, move, that camera's got to move. And they will not even snap the ball here before the end of the quarter. So we've got one in the books here at Sacred Heart tonight. Sumrall leading Sacred Heart 7-0. And Sumrall will have the football when play resumes. Coming up at the end of the game, the offensive and defensive player of the game, sponsored by Dandy Dan's Chevron in Bellevue and Sumrall. Whether it's their complete line of fresh, always hot coffees to Miss Betty's sausage and egg biscuits, Dandy Dan's in Bellevue has your quick start covered. For lunch, how about the daily special plate lunches? At Dandy Dan's Chevron in Bellevue, the smiles are always warm and the drinks ice cold. Proud supporters of Sumrall Football and all local schools. Dandy Dan's in Bellevue on Highway 589. So we're going to go to the other end of the field.
On Highway 11.
And the Bobcats will take it over at this end.
No, like when you get on the left, keep y'all school as possible.
It'll be spotted at the 20-yard line.
We're about the YMCA.
Dr. Kelly Cronin in the crowd tonight, here on this near side. The father of Matthew Cronin. Matthew Cronin, a senior for Sumrall. So, 1st and 10 for the Rollcats at the 20. Jackson hands it off to Tyreek Preston. Preston looking for a block into the end zone. That is a Bobcat touchdown. No flags on the play. This one will stand. Tyreek Preston, a 20-yard touchdown run. So Bryson Smith on to try to tack on the extra point. Out of the hold of Cruz Digger Freeman. Freeman, one of those talented freshmen. On the hold. Snap is back. The placement, but it's blocked. It is no good. So 13-0. The field here at Sacred Heart near Bonhomie Road. With 11:53 left to go here in the second quarter. Bobcats ready to kick this one away, and they will kick it from left to right.
Can you tell them the street how to get here? Yeah, where are you located right now?
The near side here, where all of the Sacred Heart fans normally sit, is filled by 3/4, I'd say, Sumrall folks. Jeremy Thompson, the producer of this webcast, is listening to this webcast, viewing this webcast, which leads us to ask, where are you tonight, boss? And we know we won't get that answer. There's the kick away by Bryson Smith. It takes a bounce and fielded at about the 10-yard line. Bringing it forward is Tanner Blakeney. Blakeney wrapped up at about the 25-yard line. And that's where the Crusaders will start. 1st and 10. Somebody texted and said they can hear Wolfman talking. And you thought the Wolfman was dead years ago. The real Wolfman is very much alive and well.
You want to go to 103?
Solomon Landrum's brothers, Grant Landrum and Connor Landrum, in the crowd tonight, right here below us. With 11:48, the Crusaders huddling on their near sideline here, ready to get back to work, trailing in this game, 13-0. Big Grant Crowder in the backfield, split to Wetherall's right. Wetherall wants to throw, can't find anybody open. He is under siege. He will loft this one to the far sideline and overthrew his intended receiver. Byron Easterling, the freshman wide receiver, was the intended target. He was covered pretty well over there. So alertly, he threw that ball too high to where Goolsby could not intercept it. It went out of bounds, stopping the clock with the incompletion. 11:39 left to go here in the second quarter. Just underway under some beautiful Columbia and pink skies here at Sacred Heart, the Sacred Heart Athletic Complex. If you've never been here, you need to come and see it. It is really spectacular. Beautiful, beautiful place. Nestled in the pines right off of Veterans Memorial Parkway. Wetherell, again, a quick pass out to the near sideline. Again to Easterling. Slightly overthrown. Cocroft and Goolsby were there on the coverage, ready to pop him if he made the catch. He did not make the catch, and it'll be 3rd down and 10 coming up. Other games going on in District 7 4A tonight. Some good ones, including Van Cleve is at Greene County. Poplarville is at Seminary tonight. Raleigh at Lawrence County. And Pearl River Central down in Brooklyn at FCAHS. Of course, those are non-division games, but ones that you still want to win. Wetherell wants to pass. He is flushed out of the pocket, rolling to his right. He lofts this one out of bounds, again smartly, because he was really hassled trying to be tracked down by the very athletic defensive line, including Nick Eccles for Sumrall. So the punting unit comes in for the Crusaders. Carson Hall to kick it away. And Hayden Barrett right at about the 50-yard line. Hayden Barrett, who did some courtesy running in baseball this past year, will look to move himself up the ladder come baseball season. A good punt. Way back. Look at this, bouncing all the way down inside the 20-yard line, and it'll die at about the 16. What a punt by Carson Hall. So Hall and the special teams for Sacred Heart did its job now. The defense has got to try to corral this potent Sumrall offense with 11:14 left to go in the second quarter. Coming up in a couple minutes, we'll be asking our State Farm Insurance Company rock and roll trivia question. And if you're a Michael Jackson fan, it deals with Michael Jackson. So we'll see how much you know about Michael Jackson coming up in our rock and roll trivia question. As we pan left, as they say in the business, so you can see the Sumrall Bobcats get to work offensively. Sumrall leading at 13-0. The second extra point was blocked. So Dennis Jackson wants to throw, lofts it down the left sideline. He's got Cocroft up at the 40-yard line. Cocroft hauls it in. It's up to the 41-yard line. Remember, in high school, as soon as, whether you're touched or not, if your knee goes down, you're automatically down. So Cocroft was down instantaneously. The ball, they'll spot it at the 40-yard line where that knee hit. But it is a first down for the Rawcats. Cronin lined up to the near side.
Jackson looks for the signals.
The senior wide receiver for Sumrall.
Looks like he's got him. He's ready to go. Here comes the snap.
Sumrall has worked almost exclusively from that hash mark. Tyreek Preston gets a surge of about 2 or 3, but got popped right at the line of scrimmage, but was able to wiggle his way forward.
That's Crowder and Gibbs on the tackle. Gain of about 3 yards.
Presley Gibbs, a senior defensive back, on that tackle for Sacred Heart. Clock moving with 10:25 left to go here in the second quarter. The Grand Bank halftime show coming up at halftime. And we'll have our offensive and defensive players of the game brought to you by Dandy Dan, Chevron, and Bellevue, and Sumrall coming up at the end of the game. Little dump pass by Dennis Jackson up to about the 44-yard line. It looks like Tyler Daniels was the recipient of that one. So Daniels, with his second reception of the game, brings up a 3rd down and 5.
4 yards to go.
So we'll see what Shannon White can pull out of the hat here on a 3rd and 5 with 9:39 left to go before halftime.
He's got him. Lines up in the shotgun formation. Preston off to his right.
Tyreek Preston split to the right, but they give it to Cocroft on the sweep. Tries to cut it back inside. Has first down yardage. Cocroft wiggles his way down to about the 44-yard line.
The sneak play gains around 8 yards.
Stopped on the... Cole Pipkins was there on the stop. Also there for Sacred Heart was Garrett Crowder. But it'll move the chains, and Sumrall has a fresh set here from the Sacred Heart 45-yard line. Cocroft to the far side, along with Tyler Daniels.
After some effective trickery.
Daniels just a freshman. Tyler Daniels just a freshman, so he's got some time left to develop for the Sumrall receiving core. Jackson wants to throw again. Pump fakes. Can't find anybody open. And wants to break to his left. Does. Cocroft makes the reception, gets all the way down to the 15-yard line. And I think he might have been brought down with a face mask.
The refs are getting their money's worth tonight.
I think this might go against the Crusaders on a face mask on the tackle, but we'll see. And it is. It is a face mask call against Sacred Heart.
It's a personal foul face mask penalty.
So that'll move the ball even further down
First and goal.
into territory there at about the 10.
Is that first and goal or is that first and 10? That's close.
So first down for Sumrall. Looking to the sideline again, trying to extend this lead. It is first and goal officially. Boy, the junior college season started last night. Pearl River had a 20-point lead at half against Itawamba and let it slip away. Jones was a shutout winner. Tyreek Preston on the slant inside. Gets toward the end zone, and he is in. That is a Bobcat touchdown. Tyreek Preston with a 10-yard touchdown run. And Sumrall has extended its lead to 19-0.
There was unhappiness when I played tournament.
They're going to try to kick this one through to make it a 20-0 ball game. Bryson Smith out of the hold of Digger Freeman. It's a bad snap, and the play was botched. So the kick is no good. 19-0 now. And Sumrall will kick it away. We want to try to get you some scores from other games around the area, other games involving Lamar County schools. Oak Grove is at Laurel tonight between the bricks. One of the oldest football stadiums, I think it is the oldest football stadium in the state, up in Laurel. So Oak Grove is playing up there tonight. Heidelberg is at Lumberton. Lumberton, you heard it here first. You watched. Lumberton's going to play for a state championship. I really think that they're going to do so. Very, very good. Columbia Academy is at Purvis as the Tornadoes look for their first win of the year. Coach Brad Hankins in his first year at the helm. So Smith's kick is a line drive that gets down inside the 10-yard line. It will stay in bounds. That ball is live. And nobody touched it. But remember, after it goes 10 yards, it's live. And I'm not sure that the Bobcats even realized it was live. Sacred Heart finally covered it at the 5-yard line. But mercy, that could have been disastrous for the Crusaders.
First down, Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart trailing 19-0 here.
Yeah, we're off.
The Sumrall defense has held firm.
Sorry about that. Thanks for asking me.
And we've got a chance for the Crusaders to get to the near sideline and talk things over a little bit. Collins is playing Northeast Jones tonight. Scott Central leading Newton County 14-6 in the first. As we check the Primerica Financial Services scoreboard. Stone and Biloxi are tied at 7 in the first quarter. Park Lane leading Centerville 7-6 in the first quarter. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Primerica Financial Services. First and 10. Wetherell's in the end zone and under siege. Throws this ball up in the air. Cronin was back in defense and incomplete. And honestly, I have to call it the way I see it. I think Sumrall got away with one there because Cronin had his arm extended. And that could have been called pass interference against Cronin. Perry Central leading past Christian 14-0 at the end of the first. Oak Grove leading Laurel 8-0 in the first quarter. John Rice Plumley with a touchdown there and a 2-point conversion. So Oak Grove leading up between the bricks in Laurel. Again, all of our scores brought to you by our friends at Primerica Financial Services. And Sacred Heart calls timeout and wants to talk it over. So while they do that, let's go ahead and give you our rock and roll trivia question tonight, brought to you by your State Farm Insurance agent, Stacy Clark Temple. All right, you remember the song that many of you may not, but the song that Michael Jackson recorded for a movie called Ben, about a man-killing rat, a man-eating rat, back in the early 70s. Michael Jackson was not originally supposed to sing that song. What other child star, child music prodigy, was scheduled to record that song but couldn't because he was on tour? So again, Michael Jackson recorded the song Ben, but it was not originally written for him. What other child singer was it written for? That's our State Farm Insurance rock and roll trivia question. We'll have the answer for you coming up in just a few minutes. And I love when all of you text in the answers. You go, what do I win? The pride of knowing that you knew it and nobody else did. 8:21 left to go. Here in the second quarter, Sumrall leading Sacred Heart 19-0. Crusaders working a second down play now. Weather looking to this side, throws that ball it looked like it was deflected at the line of scrimmage. Pass intended there for Tanner Blakeney, but the right end of the defensive line for Sumrall batted it down. It's third down, isn't it, guys? That's what I thought, because that play on the far side of the field that Cronin broke up was the first down. So it's third down and 10 for Sacred Heart. A rather ominous situation for the Crusaders to be, because they would have to punt deep in their own territory. Weatherall with the football. Rolls to his left. Throws this one up in the air. It's a beautiful pass, but out of bounds. Intended receiver was Carson Hall. Cocroft was there every step with him. So the punting unit comes in.
It'll be fourth down in a punting situation for Sacred Heart.
And backed way up against probably the baseline of the end zone will be Carson Hall. But last time, he was kind of deep in his own territory. He got a boomer away. Barrett will track it at about the Sacred Heart 40-yard line. So very important that Sacred Heart special teams get off a good snap here. It's a perfect snap. And the kick is away, and it's a good one. Barrett at the 41 has to pick it back up again. Now looks for his blocking. He's in trouble, going backwards, and down he goes at the 50-yard line. Nice job by the Crusaders on punt coverage tonight, all night long. Sacred Heart has done a terrific job. Making the tackle there is Ethan Mooney.
That's a reverse of about 10 yards.
So they'll spot it at the 49. Still a short field for the Rawcats, who lead at 19-0 with 8:01 left to go here in the first quarter. Again, our State Farm Insurance rock and roll trivia question. Michael Jackson recorded the song Ben for a movie about a man-eating rat. Who was originally supposed to sing that song? It was another child singer back then. I know you know, Wolfman. In between the hash marks, some are all working left to right or west to east. Hand off again to Preston. Preston gets grabbed by the jersey, but takes 3 or 4 Crusaders with him down to the 36-yard line, a gain of about 13, and a first down for Sumrall. Bobcats have been effective running and throwing the football tonight. Shannon White getting in some of the younger receivers as well as the seasoned veterans like Cronin. Cronin missed the first game of the year, but the last couple of games has been effective. We noted that Billy Garrity out of the lineup tonight. Zane Berry is out at least this week and probably next against Enterprise. Realistically, he might see action against Richton, but again, they're more important that they get him back for district play. But you know, he's such a competitor, he doesn't want to miss any of the action. Now, there's a stoppage in play. We have a cut maybe on one of the officials. It looks like there's a cut on one of the officials' right hands over here to the near sideline. You see him being taped up at about the 39-yard line. Because if there's blood anywhere on the field, then time is called and they make sure they tend it to that particular person. In this case, it was a referee. And because the referee is bleeding, you know they have a heart, right? Just like, hard to believe sometimes. Hard to believe. 7:26, clock moving. 1st and 10 for Sumrall. Quick pass by Jackson to Cronin. Gets away from one person, but then pushed out of bounds at about the 26, it would appear. Gain of about 9. 2nd down and 1 upcoming as the play going out of bounds stops the clock with 7 minutes, 16 seconds left to go. Still have a heat timeout coming your way. Sumrall getting near the Sumrall Lawn Care red zone as they look to get it in again. Tyreek Preston has had a great game in the backfield. Tate Davis, the tight end on the left side. That's where they go to Tyreek Preston. He does plunge across the 25, just across the 25, and that'll be enough for a first down.
But it was enough for a Sumrall first down.
So they'll move the chains. Sumrall doing a very good job of very methodically working the offense and moving the chains down the field. Of course, the more time they hang on to it, obviously, the less Sacred Heart has it. So Sumrall's defense, again, is not allowed a point all year. It's just been special teams play.
Fairman split off to Jackson's right as Jackson lines up in the shotgun.
Darius Fairman, the junior running back, they give it to him. He evades one tackler, tries to string out the Sacred Heart defense, but it doesn't work. Making the play there is Presley Gibbs down the line.
For about a 5-yard loss.
So a loss on the play.
Where it'll be 2nd down for Sumrall.
2nd down and 15. Clock moving with 6:25 left to go here in the second quarter. Weather permitting, the Bobcats will be at home next week. This was supposed to be a home game tonight. And Sumrall is listed as the home team on the scoreboard. I don't know what financial arrangement they worked out tonight. Jackson on the give and go to Fairman. They'll do the same play to the near side. Cuts it up at about the 20 and gets down to about the 17 before he was wrapped up on the play by Carson Hall, who has had a great game as the punter tonight for Sacred Heart. Somebody must have Googled it because they're getting the question now. All right. Our rock and roll. I'm going to have to try to find questions that people can't Google, right? Oh, yes, there are some things you can't Google. We just have to find them. 5:23 left to go. Jackson and company. Again to Fairman. Tried the left side, then cut it back up the middle. Still moving the feet, churning those legs and getting inside the 10. A big scrum at about the 9-yard line. So Sumrall working its way. They're definitely now inside the Sumrall Lawn Care red zone. These are where you want to get points on the board of some kind. The kicking teams tonight for The kick coverage has been better, but
Jackson in the shotgun.
we've had a couple of foibles at the place kicking situation. Handoff, right side again to Fairman, getting into the end zone. That's a Bobcat touchdown.
For another Sumrall touchdown.
Darius Fairman with his first touchdown of the year. Extends the Bobcat lead to 25-0. Looking to make it 26 again. Cruz Freeman will hold it. Bryson Smith to try to tack on the 26th point of the night.
Smith for the point out.
High snap, but it's placed down, and the kick is up. It's a line driver, but it's good. With 4:45 left to go before halftime, it's Sumrall 26.
It's Sumrall.
Sacred Heart,
0.
nothing. And while we get the chance, it's time to give you our rock and roll trivia question answer. Brought to you by State Farm Insurance agent Stacy Clark Temple. The question was, Michael Jackson recorded a song for a movie named Ben, a man-eating rat, back in the early 70s. The song was called Ben, but it was not written for him. Who was supposed to record that song and couldn't because he was on tour at the time? Another child singer by the name of Donny Osmond. The Osmond brothers, I'm sure you've heard of them. Donny Osmond, one of the younger Osmond brothers, was supposed to record that song. But Michael Jackson, the lucky recipient of it, because Donny Osmond was on tour. Our trivia questions brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Stacy Clark Temple and Sumrall and Prentice to take care of your car, home, or anything else that is important to you. It's important to her. State Farm, you're more than just a combo or a bundle. You're a person. So give her a call in Sumrall or Prentice. Bryson Smith to kick it away. The end-over-ender will be corralled at about the 15-yard line. Blakeney tries to get up across the 20 and does before he was tripped up by Coleman. Got up to about the 21, and that's where the Crusader offense will start, and they are trying to do something that no other team has been able to do, and that's try to figure out this very tough Sumrall defense, led by that tenacious defensive front. Solomon Landrum, Justin Lambre, Cole Daniels. Pretty tough, and lots of beef on that line. So here come the Crusaders. Working right to left as you see it on our HD feed here. And we're going to take our heat timeout now so that the teams can gather themselves. The Grand Bank halftime show coming up in just a few moments. Stan Caldwell will join us. Stan, a longtime sports writer for the Hattiesburg American, most recently the sports information director at Pearl River Community College, now producing his own high school sports blog. So Stan will be here to tell us about that and give us his perspective on the upcoming college football season. And we'll see if he, like me, thinks that the Iowa State Cyclones are destined for a middle-of-the-pack finish in the Big 12 again this year. Which, for Iowa State fans, that's pretty good. 4 minutes, 40 seconds left to go. Got some Prince playing on the PA system here at Sacred Heart on the day that Aretha Franklin was put to rest up in Detroit. So 1st and 10, Crusaders get to work. Wetherell at quarterback, the senior. He's had a great career here at Sacred Heart. Out of the shotgun. Fakes the handoff. He will run it himself. Now wants to try to pass the ball. Lofts it down the field. And there should be a flag there. And there was. Goolsby face guarded the intended receiver there. It was pretty obvious. Peyton Ware was the intended receiver.
Looks like there's 2 flags down on the field.
One flag at the line of scrimmage and one in the secondary. We saw the one in the secondary pretty closely, a bird's eye view that we had. But if this goes against Sacred Heart, it'll be offsetting. Ineligible downfield. And that's what happens when you get a quarterback that starts to run.
Ineligible man downfield for Sacred Heart and pass interference against Sumrall. Those penalties will offset. Replay first down.
When Wetherill looked like he was going to run, the lineman released downfield to try to block for him. That's where that comes into play. That's why that's so problematic on illegal men downfield. So under those circumstances, the play would have been to hang on to it. But they'll start it again, 1st and 10 with 4:33 left to go. Blitz coming. Wetherill's quick pass is caught by Ware, and he gets dropped immediately by Cockrell.
Left side to Ware.
Or Cockcroft, rather.
Where it'll be 2nd and 3 for Sacred Heart.
So a second down play upcoming. Cockcroft was right there ready to pummel him. Getting near 4 minutes left to go in the half. Sumrall leading this one 26-0. Enterprise coming to Lamar County next week. And hopefully a home game for the Bobcats. Low snap. Wetherill throws it down the field, incomplete. Where was the intended receiver? Back there in coverage was Nigel Coleman. Cockcroft was also in the secondary. But the pass way overthrown. It'll be 3rd down and about 5 upcoming. 3rd down and 6 maybe. So Jeremy, would you get the night off tonight, or what were you doing that you weren't? Oh, you were at Southern Miss tonight. Oh, you're a student. You do have to go to class every once in a while. I never did. And you see what it did for me, right? 3:45 left to go before half. Wetherill rolls to his left, wants to run, and there is nowhere to go, and he is escorted out of bounds gently by Landrum and his fellow attorneys over there who are keeping the law for Sumrall. So a 4th down, actually a loss on the play of about 2, 4th down and 8 coming up. But the man of the hour for Sacred Heart, Carson Hall, will kick it away. Hall back at about the 8-yard line, and Barrett back at his own 40. The Crusaders short a man, so they had to get another special teams player on. The kick is away. It's kind of an end-over-ender here to Barrett. It gets over his head, but he will field it on the run and go to the far side of the field and cut it back up at the 30, the 35, the 40. He's very tough to corral. He almost gets under blocking. Look at Barrett. Barrett breaking free. Barrett to the end zone. No flags on the play. That is a Bobcat touchdown.
Barrett with the long return for a Sumrall touchdown.
Hayden Barrett, no bigger than a minute, but got underneath most of the Crusaders and took it to the house. So now other teams see what it's like to have one returned against them. And I know the Sumrall coaches have said, let it go. Will you just let it go? Let last week go. Kerrigan Childs. Kick is up and good. Kerrigan Childs, the first girl to ever be a place kicker for Sumrall. Kerrigan Childs puts it through. Good for Kerrigan, a soccer star.
Kerrigan Childs on the point after.
And with that kick, again, history is made. The first girl, I believe, to ever.
History being made tonight. Kerrigan Childs.
The first girl to ever play a football game for Sumrall. That'll be an answer to a trivia question some years down the road. Congratulations to Kerrigan. Not only getting into the game, but making the most of the opportunity that she's given. We'll try to get you some more scores on the Primerica Financial Services scoreboard. So 33-0, the Raw Cats lead it as Bryson Smith in to kick this one away. And back there for Sacred Heart is Tanner Blakeney. Blakeney actually taken by an up man at about the 40, and he gets leveled at about the 40-yard line. And I mean, coming up with a big lick for Sumrall was Tate Davis on special teams. Nice play by Tate Davis. We've talked about
first down, Sacred Heart.
Blakeney for Sacred Heart. His brother, they're from the Taylorsville area originally, and his brother John Blakeney played for PCS and some of those very successful teams that Joey Hawkins had some 3 or 4 years ago. So big brother John is actually smaller than Tanner, but you still have to call him big brother. So John Blakeney for PCS, Tanner Blakeney for Sacred Heart. A lot of blue and white apparel in the Blakeney household. 1st and 10. Weatherall has to go back and get that snap. He's in trouble here, rolling to his left and tries to get it out to the sideline where Ware was in the area, but incomplete. Liam Munn was there in coverage. Uncle Ernie is back at it again tonight. And Tweeter, now we know who Tweeter is. All right. Barrett is Tweeter. He did take it to the house. Uncle Ernie, why were you so late checking in tonight? We hope that you were behaving yourself. 3:11 left to go. It's been all Sumrall tonight here on an unofficial home game at Sacred Heart. Play action. Weatherall throws it down the sideline. A receiver was open there. The Sumrall defender, Darren Coney, had lost the football in the lights. Couldn't come up with it. And it was almost caught, but we've got a penalty marker down. And again, Charles Green, the referee, has been making the signals to the far side of the field instead of the press box side. This will go against the Rawcats. It is pass interference. So 1st and 10 for Sacred Heart at the Sumrall 45-yard line. Here at this beautiful Sacred Heart facility. 3 minutes, 5 seconds left to go before halftime. On 1st and 10. Sumrall bringing the house. Handoff up the middle. Tate Davis made the grab. The ball might have squirted loose there. But Crowder with a gain of about 4. So 2nd down upcoming.
2nd down, about 7.
Remember, Sumrall won the toss and deferred to the second half. So Sumrall will get the pigskin to begin the second half of play. Ware, the receiver to the near side for Sacred Heart, Peyton Ware. Peyton Ware's dad, Dave, was the mayoral candidate in Hattiesburg some time back. This one is lofted up the sideline looking for Ware, and nicely tipped out of the way at the last minute by Liam Munn, because Ware had gotten himself free. Ware was open by about a step and a half and was positioned beautifully to make the catch, but Munn batted away at the last minute, just got a hand on it. That had 6 written all over it for Sacred Heart. 2:17 left to go on a 3rd down and about 8 play upcoming for the Crusaders. Boy, looking at Lonnie Schrader, the head coach of Sacred Heart, he has really slimmed down, hasn't he? Well, whatever weight he lost, I found, and he's welcome to have it back. Rolling to his left, Weatherall on 3rd down and long. Looks like he may run this one himself. Got a nice block, and then out of bounds at about the 33-yard line.
Rolls around the left side. Makes the line the game.
And that's a 1st down.
1st down, Sacred Heart.
Really tough play for the defense to make, because as soon as you go after the quarterback, then you're letting a receiver go free, and then he would throw the ball downfield. So it's 1st down as the Sumrall band gets in position ready to play here at halftime.
Just the band. The spirit of Sumrall. Thank you.
Weatherall with the ball, wants to throw a little dump pass over Crowder's head, at about the 29-yard line, but had Crowder made the catch, Liam Munn was ready to take him on one-on-one with 2:05 left to go. All Sumrall tonight so far, 33-0 as we near the halftime break. Hopefully tomorrow, with the first day of college football season in the Deep South, that Southern Miss and Jackson State won't get rained on tomorrow night. Hopefully there will be the weather will cooperate for a nice day at M.M. Roberts. Second, check that. Now Sacred Heart calls a timeout. The Crusaders wanting to talk this one over. Let's get you up to date on scores on the Primerica Financial Services scoreboard. Purvis leading Columbia Academy 21-8. That's in the second quarter. Purvis looking for its first win. It's the only score that we've got updated. Oak Grove was leading Laurel 8-0 at last report. That was between the bricks. The stadium at Laurel, the oldest stadium in the state and the first one to have lights. I think that was built back during the Depression. Which the Depression to me means every NFL season, being a Bengal fan. With 2:05 left to go here in the first half. Sumrall leading this one 33-0. Other games in the region include Raleigh, the Lions playing at Lawrence County. Lawrence County is 1-1 on the year. So too is Greene County. Greene County is hosting Van Cleve. Poplarville, the only other undefeated team in the region along with Sumrall, is playing at Seminary. And Pearl River Central is down in Brooklyn, taking on the Aggies, and the Forest County Aggies looking for their first win of the year. So the Crusaders now on a 2nd down and 10 play coming up. Weatherall rolls to his right. Puts this one across the middle. He's got his receiver. Caught at the 18-yard line. Making the catch there is Carson Hall.
Where it's going to be first down, Sacred Heart.
Found an opening in that zone there of the Sumrall defense and came up with a good catch. So from the far hash mark. Sacred Heart to work with 1:41 left to go. You see that clock up in the upper corner of your screen. Weatherall this time comes to this, throws it to the corner. Again, he was looking for Hall, but just overthrew him. But he was under siege by Sumrall's James Ford. The freshman was there to really make life miserable for him. So it goes incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Lonnie Schrader, the head coach at Sacred Heart here for years, was Neville Barr's defensive coordinator over at Petal and had some great defensive units there that they called Schrader's Raiders. Then Schrader followed Neville Barr to Oak Grove, put in a career there, and then retired from the public school system and now coaching as the head man at Sacred Heart. 1:31 left to go. Weatherall wants to throw again. A little quick flick out to the side to Blakeney, and a penalty marker comes in. Blakeney weaves his way down to about the 10-yard line. That is a block in the back on Sacred Heart. So a block in the back by the Crusaders will bring this one back. And Sacred Heart's been here before, but got themselves in trouble with penalties. And it looks like this one is going to cost them some yardage.
It's an illegal block on the Crusaders.
So going backwards with 1:23 left to go here before half. The Grand Bank halftime show coming up momentarily. The Saints with a big exhibition win last time. And New Orleans is looking good, aren't they? Laurel leading, or check that, Oak Grove leading Laurel 15-6. Oak Grove 15, Laurel 6. That's in the second quarter. All of our scores brought to you by our friends at Primerica Financial Services. Clock rolling now on a 2nd down play, 2nd and about 20 for Sacred Heart. Here comes the blitz. Weatherall in trouble, and he drops the ball. The ball is loose, and Sumrall has come up with it.
Fumbles the ball. Recovered by Sumrall.
Jaron Campbell.
Going to be a first down for the Bobcats.
Jaron Campbell, the junior defensive tackle, falls on top of the football, and Sumrall gets the football back with 1:11 left to go before the break. John Ford now in at quarterback. John Ford is the freshman. So Shannon White here, letting some of his youngsters get some miles on their tires. So the freshman Ford is at quarterback. And he hands it off. Marshall Phillips, another freshman. Phillips on that end around. We talked about Cruz Freeman holding the extra point kicks earlier in the game. Freeman's a freshman, so too is Marshall Phillips. His brother Payne Phillips is the punter for Sumrall. Digger Freeman is in the game right now, number 11. You see him on the near side of the field here.
Yes. Ford lines up in the shotgun with Coney split up to his right.
So Ford
there's a snap. Hand off to Coney.
Gives it to Coney. He is dropped immediately by Jordan Brown, a freshman defensive tackle. Just 16 seconds left in the quarter. Not too late for you, and that will be the half. Sumrall does not have to snap the football, so they will head to their dressing area. So too will the Crusaders. We've got 2 quarters in the books here at Sacred Heart tonight. And Sumrall leading Sacred Heart 33-0. And again, Sumrall will get the football to begin the second half of play. Ready to buy or build your dream home? Well, Grand Bank has the perfect loan for you, from hassle-free construction financing to ideal programs for first-time home buyers. Grand Bank has become the preferred choice for home loan shoppers in the Pine Belt wanting low rates and quality customer service they can count on. Find out for yourself. Stop by Grand Bank in Hattiesburg and Petal, or you can call them at 601-264-1467. That's 264-1467. Grand Bank is your hometown bank, locally owned and operated, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. So the Spirit of Sumrall, the band will perform. Sacred Heart does not have a band. Remember, Sacred Heart is just a 1A school. So the band will perform. Actually, the Bobcat football team is kind of down in the far end zone. We'll just pan here right so you can see where they are. They're kind of huddled there in the end zone. That's probably where they will stay for the remainder of the half as the band gets ready to perform. Next week against Sumrall, scheduled to be at home, but the reason this game was shifted to Sacred Heart tonight was because of the wet conditions at the Sumrall varsity field. But when you look at the weather forecast for this next week, there's an 80 to 90% chance of rain every day, which that certainly will not be good for a field that has already taken a lot of water at Sumrall. But I feel certain if there's any way they can get that home, because this is now the 3rd game in a row the Cats have been on the road. 2018 football season has begun, but the hometown fans in Sumrall have not been able to see their kids on their home field. Enterprise, the scheduled opponent for next week, and then Richton, the Rebels, are supposed to come calling the week after that. 4 teams make the playoffs in District 7 4A, and these non-district games, of course, don't count toward that, but it's good. You always want to win if you're playing a game, right? So the Bobcats look good tonight, leading Sacred Heart 33-0 as the Grand Bank halftime show comes your way. So you get to see the band perform. Joining us on set is Stan Caldwell for many, many years, and Lord have mercy, Stan, do we go back?
Back a long, long way. Mid-'80s, maybe?
And that's 1880s.
18, right, yeah. Well, not quite that bad, but, yeah, we've been doing this a long time.
For many years, Stan, a beat writer for actually was the high school guy for the Hattiesburg American, whose work was so well documented for so many years. Then went to Pearl River Community College, where he was the sports information director, now developing his own high school sports blog that we're here to talk about, and just about football in general. And I know those 23 steps to get to the press.
Actually, I counted 24. But
oh, you did? Okay. Well, that's quite a few to get up here.
Yeah.
But we're glad that you're here, Stan. First of all, tell us about the blog and how you decided,
Well, I needed something. I retired from Pearl River at the end of June.
Right.
And we needed something to do and something I enjoy doing. I've always loved high school sports. I always loved local sports. And it was just something that I thought, I can do this. I can set up my own blog. It's really easy to do. There are plenty of templates out there on the internet that you can download and set. It really basically sets it up for you. So I've just decided this is what I love to do, and then there it is. It's StanManSportsFan.com.
Stanman Sports Fan.
Stanman Sports Fan.
So each Friday, the idea is for you to kind of pick a game or two of the week that you want to, give your perspective on and go and do pretty much what you've done for years.
Yeah, exactly. Doing what I did for the Hattiesburg American. Right now, I'm limiting it to the high schools in Forest and Lamar counties, just because it's a one-man band. And right now I'm doing football, but come playoff time for volleyball and slow pitch, I'll do a little bit of that. I'd like to do a little bit of William Carey also, not exclusively high school, but because they kind of fall through the cracks a little bit. But that's something I'm just going to have to decide, how my time is budgeted. I've got 3 grandbabies now, so that takes up a good bit of our time now. And of course, Stephanie and I want to do some traveling, so. I'm really excited about it. I've gotten a really positive response. The community, of course, they all remember my work from the American and at PRCC, and it's just been a real positive response. I've got from coaches, fans, friends, just fans in the street that I meet on the sidelines. So,
well, the biggest thing that has probably changed over the years, Stan, of course, is technology.
Oh, yeah.
And newspapers was almost like when you got the newspaper in the morning, was almost like opening that birthday card from Grandma.
Oh, yeah.
What was in the news, but newspapers, sadly, to me, are going the way of the buffalo.
They're pretty much a dinosaur now. The traditional print newspaper, I give it, some papers, maybe 10 years, but locally, the Hattiesburg American has already pretty much phased out their print operation. They're only going 3 days a week. Probably one of the better media operations is Pine Belt Sports, and they're a weekly publication. They do a lot, but everything's moving online. Social media is a big part of what we cover now. Immediacy with Twitter and Facebook. Instagram, Pinterest, all those sites. It's a whole different breed from the way you do it. It's kind of happening now. What are you doing for me now?
And really, even radio has changed to I'll point as an example to the high school football scoreboard shows. There used to be some really good ones across the state, and there are a couple, but where they used to go 2 hours in length, they're maybe going an hour now. And you'll ask the hosts, how come you're only going an hour? And they'll say, well, because of Twitter, because of all this, most everybody knows the scores before we even get on the air.
They know it as it's happening. I mean, the writers and the fans they're all tweeting as soon as a touchdown happens. They're updating. It's out there on social media. So, like you said, fans know what the score is. The trick is to provide analysis, and that's what I hope to do with my blog. Is not necessarily. You just say who, what, when, where, but why? Why did Team A win over Team B? What the key play was? Because like I said, they know the score, but but you can't get the kind of analysis in 146 characters.
The toughest part of your job, too, it seems to me, going back to your days as a writer, is the fact that you want to maintain good, friendly, personal relationships with the people you're writing about.
Right.
But sometimes your job is to write about the things that aren't pleasant about those people. So how did you handle that, Stan? Knowing that you had a job to do, but also wanting to try to preserve the relationship.
I think most people understood that I've had a job to do. I'll give you Shannon White here an example. I wrote something that was kind of critical in a column. Sumrall playing Oak Grove, which never should have happened, but that's a long way back. And Shannon was pretty hot about it at the time. He called me. We banded back and forth. But after it was all over, the season was over, He called me out of the clear blue sky. Said, "Look, I apologize for what we said that back then. You were doing your job. What you wrote was fair. It was critical, but it was fair. And so they understand that sometimes it's you've got to play up the warts. I try not to play the negatives up because because these are kids. Exactly,
right,
they're 17, 16, 17-year-old kids, and they don't deserve to be treated the same way that a 19, 20, 21-year-old college kid is treated. They're local kids. Most 95, 98% of these kids will never play beyond high school. So why make it why make it unpleasant? Make it a pleasant experience. But again, if there's stuff going on that's that shouldn't be going on, you gotta write about it.
If you're watching our YouTube channel here, that score is a little bit misleading. I mean, the score is what it is, but the home team tonight is Sumrall, not Sacred Heart.
Right.
So if you were just tuning in going, oh my goodness, Sumrall's getting walloped, actually it's the other way around. Sumrall very much in control of this one, 33-0. The reason the Bobcats listed as the home team is because they were supposed to be
right
at home tonight, but because of the wet conditions, the game was moved here to Sacred Heart. On the Grand Bank Halftime Show, we continue our discussion with Stan Caldwell, longtime writer of the Hattiesburg American and Sports Information Director at Pearl River Community College. He has a new high school sports blog called StanManSportsFan.com.
Correct.
And you can log on there and get his unique perspective. All right, Stan, Southern Miss opens tomorrow against Jackson State. And this question has probably been beat to death, but I have to ask you, are circumstances in college football now today to where Southern Miss will, quote, never be what it was, end quote?
No, they'll never will be, because Conference USA is not what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's unfortunate that they've kind of been left behind. They're now basically it's a Sun Belt, and that's unfortunate. You hate it for a proud program like USM, but you just got to make the best of it. You got to, you still have to play the games. You have to play the teams that are on your schedule and that are in your conference at any given time, and you've got to just not look at the past and just say, all right, let's make the best of today and this season and move forward. I think they can't. They can't. It does no good to whine about it. It is what it is. They're where they are for whatever reasons that you have, and they just have to. They have to win their conference here. I mean, forget going to a quote better conference. You win where you're in, and it'll take care of itself.
So what's your over-under number on wins for the Golden Eagles this year?
I think they can win 8 games. I think there are 8 winnable games on their schedule. There's some games obviously that they're not going to have. They're going to be outmanned, and I think if they go into each game with the mindset that we can win, then I think they're 8. And then you get a bowl game. Get a decent bowl game, maybe 9 wins, 9 and 4. I don't think anybody at the USM fan would cry over 9 and 4.
Now I notice with the shirt that you're wearing tonight, the NFL season kicks off next Thursday with the Thursday night game, and then the full slate of schedules on Sunday, a week from this Sunday, so about 9 days away or so. And I know you're probably wearing that Saints shirt because it's one of the few that probably come in your size.
Yours too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I know. But really, a lot of people are saying this could be it for the Saints.
The Saints are on. They've got to go all in for this season. This Drew Brees is 38. He'll be 39 in January. The window is closing for him, and if they're going to win another championship, this is the year. They had a good shot at it last year. I don't think anybody really expected them to be as good as they were last year. This year, I think the expectations are there. I think the talent is there. I've seen nothing that would convince me that they can't get into January and make a nice long run.
For years, it seemed like the AFC really had the biggest muscles in the NFL, but it seems to me now that has gravitated to the NFC.
Right now, the best teams are in the NFC. Of course, obviously, the New England Patriots are always going to be a factor. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a fine team, but once you get past those two, then you look at the NFC, and there are teams that, gosh, the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, Green Bay Packers I saw were
and the Super Bowl champs,
and by the way, the Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys. They're this is kind of this might be a win or else year for Jason Garrett in Dallas.
You know who I think is the team to watch in the NFC this year? And you haven't mentioned them.
L.A. Rams.
No.
No.
The Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, the Vikings. Yes, right. The Vikings. I mean, there's another team that it has a chance. They were in the NFC championship game last year.
But clearly, the team, that's going to win the Super Bowl, at least from the get-go, would be the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes.
You know what? It wouldn't. It wouldn't
Don't
entirely
say it, Stan.
shock me
Don't
that
say it.
the Bengals have got some talent. They've got it.
4 years they've had this.
And they've. People dog on Andy Dalton, but I think he's a capable quarterback. Whether they've got the juice to go a long way, who knows?
When you look at Sumrall's District 7 4A, you've got the Bobcats at 2-0, Poplarville still the king of the hill. And so far, it would appear that those two teams are the cream of the crop.
Yeah, I think Poplarville. I'm not sure that they're. Of course, they lost a little bit of talent from last year, but they've got a wealth of great players coming back. I think you can't sleep on Greene County. They're with a new coach. I think they've got a new coach this year. You can't look past them. I saw Forest County last week. They've got some nice little running backs. They got 3 kids that can run the ball. They blocked real well. They made some they self-inflicted errors last week that cost them against Perry Central. But I think Forest County will be sniffing around the playoff hunt before it's all over. So yeah, it's a tough division. But yeah, I think Sumrall and Poplarville are probably the 2 teams to get past.
And I think Sumrall, when you look at the talent cupboard, Stan, it used to be in all candor that Sumrall would have a good class or 2. But now when you look at the Sumrall football program, the school is growing to the point where the talent cupboard is being full in every class. So I don't think Sumrall is going to be in a situation where they're rebuilding anymore. I think it might be more a reloading situation.
What I saw in the first half here today, you think, oh, it's going to be Dennis left, Dennis right. But I tell you what, Tyreek Preston had a great first half. He's got a lot of talent. I think there's in the backups show some promise. This is not just a one-man team, so I think the talent level is higher, and I think it's going to stay at a good level for Sumrall.
In fact, looking at the statistics, Wolfman has the Bobcats 17 rushes for 163 yards and 4 touchdowns, 6 for 6 in the air with 113 yards, and of course Barrett with the 70-yard touchdown reception, return rather.
Yeah.
So.
And again, it's hard to tell how good Sumrall is because Sacred Heart's struggling. Their numbers are down. They lost a really good senior class last year, so they're rebuilding. The numbers are down a little bit. So we'll find out how about the Bobcats, I think, next week against Enterprise.
So we looked at District 7 4A. Now, let's specifically pick apart Lamar County, which is one of the subjects on your blog, StanManSportsFan.com. When you look at the teams in Lamar County, Oak Grove is undefeated, Sumrall's undefeated, Lumberton's undefeated.
Lumberton's really good, too.
Yeah, and I said earlier tonight on the webcast, it would not surprise me if Lumberton's playing for the gold ball.
Yeah, in fact, Zach Jones and I talked in early August about it. They want a shot at Simmons. They want that shot. They felt like even though they were 10-3 last year, won the division, got the second round, they underachieved a little bit last year. They got put out in the second round, and they're a program where that they're one of the few programs where you go 10-3, win the division, and get put out in the second round, and it's not up to par. So
Brad Hankins, the new head coach at Purvis, his team was winning tonight against Columbia Academy. We hope that number will continue to be. It was a rough road for the first couple of weeks, but this isn't anything that Brad Hankins didn't anticipate.
No, he knew coming in that they were going to struggle a little bit. That their talent level was down a little bit this year. One thing about a Brad Hankins team, they're going to play hard from start to finish, and the wins and losses will take care of themselves. I think he get him a year in to his program, and he'll be a winner because he's a great coach and a great guy. Kids want to play for him.
And the thing I appreciate most about, and actually Shannon White too, if you ask them, and unlike a lot of high school coaches, if you ask guys like Shannon White and Zach Jones and Brad Hankins a direct question,
you get a direct answer. You get the truth. You don't get coach speak. You get the truth. Whether it's good, bad, indifferent. I said preseason talking to Shannon. the third day of practice, his offense. He didn't think he had an offense. I mean, he was. He said, we're kind of waiting on Dennis to break 5 tackles, but then they get into the season, and lo and behold, they've figured it out. So they'll he'll tell you flat out, we're struggling. They'll all tell you that, and Drew Causey at Oak Grove the same way. He's a pretty straight shooter as well.
So Stan, on StanmanSportsFan.com, your high school sports blog, is it a membership service, or how does it work?
Right now, it's free online there until I get all the bugs worked out. I'm gonna try to get some advertising built up there. Probably after the first of the year, I'll put try to put a paywall up, but it'll be reasonable. I'm not sure. I haven't really dug into what the what a subscription for a blog like mine would be, but probably after the first of the year I'll start trying to make a little money out of it.
Well, and how do you decide which games? You just kind of pick the best, the biggest?
Kind of the best one that involves the teams in the area. I mean, like next week I'll be at Oak Grove, and then
Oak Grove and Hattiesburg.
Oak Grove and Hattiesburg, and then we'll and I'll take it from there. And of course, I'm taking a week off the end of September. Last week, unfortunately, that's Petal Oak Grove week, and Lumberton, I think, plays East Marion that week. So it's a tough week to be out. But I'm going back to Kansas for my high school reunion. Stephanie and I are driving back to El Dorado, Kansas for my high school reunion. So we're at that. I'm going to see my alma mater play their homecoming game. So it'll be kind of an interesting. I'll probably write something about that as well. As
we begin to wrap things up with Stan Caldwell, you mentioned East Marion. It's another school that has fallen all the way down to a 1A school.
Yeah, the enrollment, I think Columbia High. The Columbia High is down to 3A. I think that the enrollment generally is down in. Across the board in Marion County, and I'm not sure why that is. Columbia Academy, I think, is growing a little bit. Maybe there's an issue there. I don't know.
Moss Point, I remember back in the day, was a 5A. When 5A was as high as it went.
Now they're 4A, but they've had a pretty good start to their season, so we'll see how that goes. But,
and of course, as some schools go down in enrollment, some, like Sumrall, continue to grow. And really, the growth of Lamar County is Sumrall way.
Yeah, it is, and it is. I think that's where the growth is going to continue in northern Lamar County. Because you see all the construction going on up and down 589. It's phenomenal how that growth is going.
Stan Caldwell, you can follow his blog at Stanman Sports Fan. That's all lowercase, all no spaces and all this internet stuff.
Yeah, StanmanSportsFan.com. Yeah, I'll have a story on this game up tonight, probably around midnight, and then I'll be back at it next week. I'll have some commentary and some stats and stuff.
Well, Stan, we thank you for not only what you've done for the many years of covering our kids in their high school years, but we wish you nothing but the best going forward with your Man Sports Fan blog.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me on there. It's been a pleasure.
You are most welcome. Stan Caldwell's been our guest here on the Grand Bank Halftime Show, getting ready to tee it up here in the second half. With Sumrall, we'll get the football to begin the second half. Obtaining a home loan is easier from your hometown bank, Grand Bank. Grand Bank has become the preferred choice for home buyers in the Pine Belt wanting low interest rates and hometown service they can count on. Whether you're looking at your first home, your next home, or refinancing your current home, Grand Bank will make it easy. They're locally owned, and their home is right here, and they want to help you with yours. Stop by or give them a call at 601-264-1467. Grand Bank, your hometown lender, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. Getting ready for the second half of play in this one. We'll try to get you updated as time goes on. Scores in other games involving 7-4A teams, District 7-4A, and of course the other Lamar County teams. Sumrall scheduled to be at home next week against Enterprise, and we're hoping for the best weather-wise, that as much rain as the field has taken at Sumrall, that it will at least be able to handle some activity next Friday night, because the guys, of course, chomping at the bit to be able to play in front of the hometown crowd. So we hope certainly that that will happen. Sumrall won the toss to begin the game, but deferred the choice to the second half. So most certainly Sumrall will get the ball to begin. Shannon White pulled the starters there with about 4 minutes left to go in the second quarter. So we would expect to see that some of the younger Bobcats will get into the game tonight. We'll do the very best we can to keep you up to date on the guys that are in and out of the lineup for Sumrall, because we know that aunts and uncles, meemaws and peepaws, everybody that might be tuned in on our YouTube channel at Sumrall Athletics want to be able to see, their youngster, their grandchild, niece, nephew, whatever the case may be, in the ball game. So we'll try to do that here. Sumrall looks to go 3-0 on the year. Sacred Heart looking for its first win of the year. I want to thank our friends at Grand Bank for making the halftime show possible for us. Each week we'll try to have somebody in the Sumrall Arena, usually from the academic area, to let you know what other activities are going on at the school besides just athletics. So we're getting ready to go here for the second half of play. Sumrall will receive it, as we mentioned, to get underway. Gabe Nacken will be the kicker for the Crusaders, rather. And Sumrall for the third quarter of play. Will work from left to right. Or the way that this is set up, it's from west to east. So we're underway. It's fielded by the up man at the 25-yard line. Therefore, Sumrall's James Ford. Ford gets up to about the 40. And that's where the Bobcats will begin first and 10. One of the Crusaders a little bit slow in getting up. That was Cole Pipkins. And Pipkins down here to the right at about the, or the left rather, at about the 30-yard line on your screen. You can see he's hobbled just a little bit. So John Ford, the freshman quarterback, will run the offense here to start the second half. Darren Coney, a junior running back, he'll be in that backfield as well. Brandon Harrison in at wide receiver for Sumrall. Also is Cruz Freeman, the freshman. They're here to the right side. Tries to throw out into the left flat for Tyler Daniels, and the pass fell short up at about the 41-yard line, incomplete. We are working with a running clock now here in the third quarter. And anytime, I believe it's a 30-point barrier. When there's a team with a 30 or more point lead, then they run with a running clock. Normally, an incomplete pass would stop the clock. So Ford wants to throw again, does. And again, the intended receiver was Tyler Daniels, but the ball was errant, and it'll be 3rd down and 10 upcoming. The Crusaders of Sacred Heart. A lot of the guys for Sacred Heart have to play on both sides of the ball just because of numbers. You see one of the Crusaders coming off here at about the 48-yard line. That is Presley Gibbs. So you talk about having to be in good physical shape. Rolling to his right. Can't find anybody open now. The youngster Ford dives forward. Bradford on the tackle for Sacred Heart brings up a 4th down and about 6 play. A shout out to Christy Martin. She's watching Folsom, Louisiana on her laptop. She didn't get on the laptop until halftime, which normally Christy's an every play type of fan, but something must have been going on in Folsom tonight. On 4th down, they'll go for it. Handoff goes to Coney. Coney breaks across the 50 down to about the 45-yard line. He gets the first down. And this is a chance for Shannon White to be able to see some of his younger players in action. And these are guys who will be wearing the Bobcat uniforms for years to come.
Ford looking for the signals.
Garrison Musgrove, the sophomore, they're split to the left of Ford. Twin receivers on each side. Hands it to Musgrove, but he gets hit and thrown back immediately by Gavin Bradford, the big senior defensive tackle for Sacred Heart. Loss on the play will bring up a 2nd down and 12, again under a running clock. So even if players go out of bounds, if there are incomplete passes under normal circumstances, the clock would stop. But with the lead here, it's a safety factor in a game that is not in jeopardy, at least at this point. Low pass. Ford wants to throw. Pass is incomplete, intended here on the near sideline by Brandon Harrison. And you see again, with the incompletion that would normally stop the clock, it continues to roll. So 3rd down. Big 3rd down play coming up for Sumrall. Shannon White getting some of the younger guys in there. Gavin Friend, a sophomore, in on the offensive line. Michael Ezel, number 67, he's in there on the right side of the line. So even the younger linemen getting some snaps here, and that's the best thing you can possibly do. It's game experience. Digger Freeman, Cruz Freeman with a sweep to the outside. Gets down to about the 47, but no more. So really no gain on the play as they try to string out the Sacred Heart defense. It'll bring up a 4th down and 12 now. Marshall Phillips and Cruz Freeman, 2 of the very talented freshmen to this side of the field, along with Brandon Harrison, another freshman. So 3 freshman wide receivers to the right side of the field. Pass is incomplete. Phillips at the 34-yard line, it hit him in the hands, but he just couldn't come up with it. So it'll go over on downs. They will stop the clock on a change of possession. And so now some young defenders also for Sumrall into the contest. Sully Clark is in the secondary now. Sully, a member of the baseball team as well. James Ford, who has seen playing time as a freshman, he's in there as a linebacking core. Josh Allen. The Josh Allen fan club checked in tonight at 601-310-7077. Allen in the contest for Sumrall. So was Jacob Edwards. He's a senior. So Sacred Heart back to work here. 7 minutes left to go in the quarter. Weatherer will try to run it himself. Cuts back against the grain and really just has to run right into the teeth of Christian Foster. Christian Foster on the tackle, the junior for Sumrall. Loss of about a yard on the play. We'll bring up a 2nd down and 11. Caden Greenwood on the outside of on the right end for the Sumrall defense. Jaron Campbell, the junior defensive end on the other side for the Bobcats. Weatherer wants to throw, lofts it down at man-to-man coverage. Where was the intended receiver? Slightly overthrown. Liam Munn was in the secondary for Sumrall on the coverage. Good coverage there by Munn. And the heat timeout will be called here with 6 minutes left to go. Of course, that's mandated by the Mississippi High School Activities Association that a heat timeout take place so that the kids stay hydrated. And those will continue during the month of September. And then once October gets here, then the heat timeouts will go away. And we get a chance, I want to thank our sponsors, Sumrall Lawn Care, who sponsor our Red Zone attacks on offense. The State Farm Agency of Stacy Clark Temple, where you're more than just a combo or a bundle, as those property and casualty companies like to call your home and auto and life. Our friends at Grand Bank sponsoring the halftime show. The post-game show sponsored by Hattiesburg Children's Clinic, where they're committed to the care and well-being of your child from birth to adolescence. Children's Clinic is open daily and offers immunizations, monitors your child's growth and development, and treats a wide range of childhood illnesses. 261-3500, 261-3500, childrensclinic.com. part of Hattiesburg Clinic. Weatherall wants to throw, lofts this one down the right sideline. Had a receiver there. Blakeney was open down at about the 25-yard line, but just couldn't quite catch up to the pass. Just slightly thrown ahead of him. So it brings up a 4th down and 11 for the Crusaders. Again, Lonnie Schrader, the head coach here at Sacred Heart, was a biology teacher when he was traversing the halls as a teacher, most noted for his defensive mind over the years, particularly at Petal and at Oak Grove. So 4th down and 11. The clock moving there. You see it in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Weatherall takes the snap. Looks across the middle. That is caught down at the 35-yard line. Nice catch by Blakeney. The coverage was good by Sumrall, but Blakeney makes the grab there defensively for Sumrall was Hayden Barrett. Hayden Barrett has a kickoff return for a touchdown tonight. Or punt return, rather, for a touchdown. So the Crusaders move the chains, 1st and 10 at the Sumrall 35-yard line. Weatherall on the handoff. Big opening to the left side, down to the 20-yard line. Being draped by James Ford. Crowder with the big gain at about the 20. So the Crusaders moving the football here. Graham Freeman, another 9th grader in the game for Sumrall. And the Crusaders move the chains, 1st and 10. As you get to see the Sumrall defense work now. Weatherall, the quick pass, and it is caught. Reception made there by Peyton Ware, but he was immediately lassoed by 2 or 3 Bobcats. Gilbert Puerto, a sophomore, was in there to make the stop. Also making a play for Sumrall was Christian Foster. And we've got one of the big linemen for Sacred Heart down, and that's Gavin Bradford. And let me tell you something, that is some serious beef right there. Gavin is a big dude.
Bradford able to get up under his own power. Let's hear it for Gavin Bradford.
Good, nobody can lift him up.
I was going to say, yeah, it is a good thing that he's walking, because it would take 2 or 3 people just to get under one arm. So Gavin Bradford, and chances are, you know, as much as a lot of the Sacred Heart guys have to play on both sides of the ball, we're hoping it's just a cramp, you know, because it's not necessarily very hot outside, but certainly very humid. 2nd down and about 8 for Sacred Heart. Football at the 16 of Sumrall. Weatherall's pass is incomplete, right through the hands of his intended receiver, Carson Hall. And out of the corner of his eye, he might have seen Sully Clark ready to come up and put a lick on him. Also in the area there for the Rawcats was Daniel Nelson, a sophomore defensive back. So 3rd down and 9. Sumrall leading at 33-0 with a 3rd quarter stand here by the defense. You know it's 4-down territory for the Crusaders either way. Split to the right side is Crowder, but Weatherall will roll to his left, and he is dropped at about the 20-yard line. Really nice tackle there by James Ford, the freshman, who lowered his shoulder and put it right into the side of the quarterback and dragged him to the ground. You'll see more and more of that in the NFL, too, with NFL players leading with their shoulders rather than their helmets, as they do everything they can to try to make the game as safe as possible. But, I mean, after all, it is a contact sport. Maybe only soccer is rougher the way things have gotten with soccer. Weatherall rolls on 4th down, looking for a 1st down opening here. He has to run to the sideline. He gets pushed out at about the 15, which that won't be enough. And Sumrall will take it over. Clock will stop with 2:05 left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Our panel will be naming an offensive and defensive player of the game at the end of the game, where Dandy Dan's in Bellevue and Dandy Dan's of Sumrall the sponsor of the offensive and defensive players of the game. And then to wrap up our webcast tonight, a preview of what's ahead. That's the Hattiesburg Clinic Children's Clinic post-game show. Wolfman, you get to vote tonight for the offensive and defensive player. Although on our text line, several people calling in saying that Wolfman should be the player of the game. But he's not eligible. All right. First down for Musgrove on the run over left tackle. Gets ahead for about 3 or 4. Again, wanting to try to get you as many names as we can of the Sumrall kids in the lineup. Justin Smith in there on the offensive line. He's on that left side. I mentioned Brandon Harrison, a freshman wide receiver, to the near side of the field. Gavin Friend, a sophomore, on the right end. Freshman Ford passes. It's through the hands of Cruz Freeman at about the 16-yard line. So it brings up a 3rd down and 6 for Sumrall. Clock still moving as we're south of a minute left to go here in the 3rd quarter. Sumrall leading at 33-0. Sumrall looking to finally get a home game next week against Enterprise. Actually, this is supposed to be game 1 of a 3-game homestand. Enterprise next week and then Richton the week to follow. 3rd down. Ford wants to pass across the middle. This one is caught by Freeman. He had to go back and make sure that he hung on to it. The body was going ahead of the hands, but he was able to pull it in. So Cruz Digger Freeman with a catch there at the 35-yard line, and that'll move the chains. And probably this will be close to getting a play off to end the 3rd quarter. But with each play, Ford a little bit more confident. Like I said, reps like that are invaluable. Handoff. Musgrove on the carry there. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter. So we move on to the 4th, and as we mentioned, the offensive and defensive players of the game still to be named. Dandy Dan's Chevron and Sumrall is the go-to one-stop shop in Sumrall. Open at 6 a.m. Whether you need a quick soft drink or maybe 3 different types of fuel. Dandy Dan's, like the Bobcat defense, won't let you down. Dandy Dan's Chevron and Sumrall, the proud sponsor of the offensive player of the game, and wishes Coach Shannon White and the team good luck in its quest for a district and state championship. Dandy Dan's in Sumrall on Highway 42, right across from the middle school, open at 6 a.m. 6 a.m., that's about the time the Wolfman's just getting in, instead of coming in at 6 o'clock rather than getting up and going. So you see the huddle at midfield here as the teams are getting ready for the 4th quarter of play here, and it will, as long as the score stays the same, it will remain with a running clock. 2nd down for the Bobcats going forward here. Now into the backfield for Sumrall is J.J. Parker, a freshman running back. So an all-freshman backfield here for Sumrall on 2nd down. They fake it, and the quarterback will run it himself, but Ford will be gobbled up, and a loss on the play of a couple. There on the play is Tanner Blakeney. Boy, Blakeney, a great player for Sacred Heart, the senior right there to make the tackle. So it brings up a 3rd down and about 6 play. Noah Boyd is in the ball game on the offensive line. Noah, a good player in the youth football leagues at Sumrall. He's been playing a while. Now on the line. Ford wants to pass, does, and it's incomplete through the hands of Brandon Harrison. Harrison was open on what we used to call a little down and in on the old Sandlot football field, but it got through his hands, through those gloves. And it'll bring up a 4th down and about 6. Marshall Phillips to the near side. Harrison will be on that far side. Offense with John Ford, the freshman, at the controls. Clock moving with 10:50 left to go in the ball game. It's been all Sumrall tonight. Bobcats looking for a 1st down here on 4th and 6. Perfect snap. Rolls to his right. Throws. The ball was tipped. The ball was tipped by Dylan Pipkins. The intended receiver was Cruz Freeman. So Sacred Heart will take over on downs at the 40-yard line. So Sacred Heart will take over. We do have one more heat timeout coming with about 5 minutes left to go in the game. So some young Sumrall defenders in there. Logan Graves, the right defensive end here. Logan, just a freshman. So you look at some of the young talent coming up for Sumrall. Kleckler's in there on the defensive line. Graham Freeman, we mentioned him. He's a freshman on the other end of the defensive line. John Sawyer Williamson into the game as the Bobcats will now huddle along the far side of the field. So whether the Bobcats are at home or whether they're on the road, you know the crowd's always going to be there. Great crowd on hand tonight as always. Bobcats travel among the best teams around the area. Hope whoever you're cheering for this weekend. Who's Ole Miss and State got this weekend? As the college football season begins, some of the games are on Sunday night. You know, with it being the Labor Day weekend, got kind of those weird schedules. Some games played tonight, most of the games played tomorrow, some on Sunday, and I think there's even a couple on Monday. We'll be giving you updates on the Primerica Financial Services scoreboard here momentarily. Wetherell throws. That pass is over the hands of Carson Hall, who was the intended receiver. There in coverage was John Sawyer Williamson. Checking the Primerica Financial Services scoreboard, Purvis all over Columbia Academy, 48-8. That's in the third quarter. Glad to see that. Oak Grove leading Laurel 22-6. Oak Grove 22, Laurel 6. That is also a third quarter score. Heidelberg playing at Lumberton tonight. Mississippi State playing Stephen F. Austin out of the Southland Conference. If that was a baseball game, it'd be a really good game. Here comes the blitz. Wetherell being rushed. This ball's lofted up in the air, and it is batted down. The intended receiver there was Natkin.
No flag on that play.
Munn was in the secondary, battling for that ball. And Caleb Thornton in the secondary for Sumrall. So third down, clock moving with 8:49, third down and 10 to go for Sumrall. So the young Bobcats trying to develop their growl a little bit, looking for the intended receiver down the field. Carson Hall, incomplete. He was being covered there by Madison. Snethern? I'll have to make sure I get the names right for these young kids. Jacob Edwards off the field for Sumrall. Fourth down coming up as the clock continues to whittle away. Ole Miss and Texas Tech play. That's a Saturday game up in Lubbock, Texas. Lubbock, Texas, way up in the Panhandle, just south of the Oklahoma border. Fourth down. This ball is put up in the air, looking for a receiver. Incomplete. Where was the intended receiver down at the 15? Where was he? Well, he was exactly where he should have been. Just had to turn around and just lost his balance long enough to lose sight of the ball. So Sumrall will take over. So on the turnover, on downs, the clock will stop, but then once play begins, the clock will begin to run again. No scoring here in the second half. Sumrall's offense was very prolific in the first half. 6 for 6 passing for 113 yards, 17 rushes for 163 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Forward returns. Parker split off to his left.
Tyreek Preston with a couple.
Parker around the right side.
Parker spins and maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. J.J. Parker. Most of the guys in the lineup now for Sumrall. The freshman, Caden Bauman, on the left side. Checking out of the game for Sumrall is Tyler Daniels. Daniels is a freshman, but he sees quite a bit of playing time. On 2nd down and 10. James Ford has been the quarterback since late in the second quarter. Again, Parker is wrapped up and dropped. Zion Booth, a freshman for Sacred Heart, on the tackle there. Big loss on the play. We'll bring up a 3rd down and about 12. Looking to the sideline, John Ford with his offensive line, including Sean Sanderson. Sean Sanderson, I believe, is the center now. He's just a sophomore. Ford wants to throw this pass, and he got hit. Good timing on the defensive play by Presley Gibbs. The intended receiver was Gregory Lamb. Or was that Tucker Lott? No, Lamb was the intended receiver. And now we've got our heat timeout. As the guys will rehydrate here. You know, the state of Louisiana doesn't play any high school football games until after Labor Day. And some of the coaches in Mississippi have often debated that as hot as it gets. But one of the things that was a consolation was the fact and the installation of the heat timeouts, that every quarter, with about 5 or 6 minutes left in the quarter, that the guys would get a chance to, at no expense to either team as far as timeouts go, is to stop the action and have the guys get a quick swig. 4th down and about 12 upcoming for Sumrall. No scoring again in the second half. Sumrall took a 33 to nothing lead into the locker room, and that's where we are right now. Kelly Sander with you at Sacred Heart tonight. Our producer, Jeremy Thompson, the college boy. Now, comes in halfway through the game, but other college guys are just waking up about this time of the day, but not Jeremy. He's on top of things. The Wolfman also providing some good numbers for us. Pass across the middle, incomplete. Almost a great catch there by Lamb, who had it at about the 50-yard line, but just lost the handle. So Sacred Heart will take over. 1st and 10 now on offense. And Shannon White will shuffle the deck again. Dare say just about every guy on the Sumrall roster tonight getting into the contest. Sacred Heart huddled up along the near sideline as you see them there at about the 50. And they'll be working left to right. They got some beefola on that line. Looks like Gavin Bradford has worked out that cramp. He's back in there. He's a tough dude to keep down, too. 1st and 10 for the Crusaders. Weatherall wants to throw. The pass is short-hopped at about the 31-yard line. Carson Hall, who serves as the team's punter, was the intended receiver. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Twin receivers to each side of the field for Weatherall. The handoff this time, and bowling over people is the man who started the game back there, Garrett Crowder. Crowder rambles inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line. Brings up a 3rd down. It's about 3rd down and 2 maybe. Crowder again split to the right of Weatherall. Watch out for Tanner Blakeney on that far sideline. Blakeney can run. He can also work as a receiver. They're looking his direction across the middle, but the pass is caught and into the end zone for a touchdown. It's Carson Hall. Carson Hall with a beautiful grab on a perfect strike. Has netted the first points of the game for the Crusaders. Looks like the Bobcats will go for 2 here. Nope, they're going to kick it. And Hall, who just scored the touchdown, will now show you his versatility by trying to kick the extra point as well. Out of the hold of Wetherill. It's a low kick. Might have hit one of his offensive linemen, well, in the lower back area. So the Crusaders will kick it off with 3:47 left to go. Now, I think that because of the change in scoring circumstances, I think now the clock will work as usual with starting and stoppages like under normal circumstances. Oak Grove was leading at last report over Laurel. They'll get ready for Hattiesburg next week. Sumrall, the Bobcats are going to go 3-0. No word yet on Poplarville and Seminary, how that one is coming out tonight. But you heard Stan Caldwell on the Grand Bank halftime show talking about how he really thinks that Poplarville and Sumrall are the teams in that division. And Sumrall and Poplarville, by the way, will play each other at Poplarville this year. So Gabe Nacken will kick it off for Sacred Heart. It's an end-over-ender that will come down at about the 21-yard line. Looking to set up the wedge along that far side. Sumrall brings it up to about the 40. Goolsby, looks like, was on the return.
Benita, where were you? You were supposed to be on that tackle too. Benita.
So first down. Tucker Lott checking into the game for Sumrall along the near sideline here. Coming out of the contest for Sacred Heart is Zion Booth, who had a tackle in the last series. So 1st and 10 for the Bobcats. Again, Ford at quarterback. He's been there since about midway through the second quarter. Dennis Jackson has gotten a night off. Ford will run it himself, but slips and falls, and I don't think he got back to the line of scrimmage. Dylan Pipkins on the tackle there for Sacred Heart will bring up a 2nd down and 11 as we're working our way down towards 3 minutes left to go in this contest. Coming in for the Crusaders, Nick Pipkins. He's a freshman, so Lonnie Schrader will have him in the future, and Garrett Crowder comes out of the game for Sacred Heart. Sumrall leads at 33-6. South of 3 minutes left to go in the game. Pass out into the flat is incomplete. Looks like Ford was actually run into by one of his own guys as he tried to get that pass out to the flat. When he ran into his own player, the pass fell short. Dylan Walker into the contest now for Sacred Heart at right end. Brady Stafford, the freshman, also in there coming out of the game is the sophomore Cooper Charles. Cooper Charles looks like he's going to be a big one for Sacred Heart. Crusaders don't have enough on defense. Handoff up the middle. And breaking free over to that side. Nice run there by Garrison Musgrove. He was hit 2 or 3 different times but was able to shake off defenders. And he's very close to a first down there. And he got the first down. Chains are being moved. So the Bobcats with a nice run there. Flashes of the future for Bobcat football fans as you saw that nice run. First down, faking the handoff. Ford will try to run it himself. Nothing up the middle, goes to the far sideline and is wrestled down at about the 39-yard line. Gibbs on the tackle for Sacred Heart. That's a gain of about 9. Brings up a second down and short play. Neither team worried about any clock stoppages here as we get near a minute left to go in this contest. Sumrall looking to start 3-0. This senior class, which has been so highly heralded since they were in the 5th grade. The handoff goes to Tucker Lott. Tucker Lott with a gain of maybe a yard will bring up a 3rd down and 1. "35 seconds. Sumrall still has 20 seconds left on the play clock. So this most likely will be the last play of the game. They hand it off to the near side. And running it this time is Alden Musgrove, a 9th grader. So again, I think most of the guys for the Bobcats got into this contest, and they do not have to run another play. The Sumrall Bobcats win this one 33-6. So the teams will shake hands at center field, and as they do so, a reminder that Dandy Dan's Chevron and Sumrall is the go-to one-stop shop in Sumrall, where they're open at 6 a.m. Like the Bobcat defense, Dandy Dan's Chevron and Sumrall will not let you down. Time to name the offensive player of the game. Hayden Barrett gets the call tonight. Hayden Barrett, by way of that kick return, Hayden Barrett, the offensive player of the game, he really played well. Had that 170-yard return for a touchdown. So Hayden, and remember, Hayden Barrett just a junior? So Hayden's got some time left in a Sumrall uniform. So a nice play and a good game there for Hayden Barrett. No, he's just a sophomore. So he's got some time left in a Sumrall Bobcat uniform. So congratulations to Hayden Barrett. Now tabulating the defensive ballots here. The Dandy Dans in Bellevue, the sponsor of the defensive player in the game. That Handy Dan's Chevron in Bellevue, they've got several different types of fuel and the fresh coffee that's always available to you, especially in the morning. But the highlight of the morning breakfasts there at the location on 589 is Miss Betty's sausage and egg biscuits. She might even make you an omelet, but you have to be really nice to her and let her know that that we sent you to them. Uncle Sammy congratulates Tweeter on his Offensive Player of the Game award. But the Dandy Dan's Chevron and Bellevue Defensive Player of the Game goes to Justice Hanberry. Hanberry, especially in the first half, was all over the field and made terrific tackles. Of course, Solomon Landrum, Cole Daniels, and Justice Hanberry, all tenacious defenders for Sumrall. Congratulations to Justice Hanberry, the Defensive Player of the Game. Hattiesburg Clinic Children's Clinic is committed to the care and well-being of your child. To schedule an appointment or for more information, look them up on the web at hattiesburgclinic.com, 261-3500. Children's Clinic, part of Hattiesburg Clinic. Care you need for the children you love. Thanks to Dr. April Gilmore, who when she was at Sumrall was April McGilvery, for sponsoring the post-game show. The Bobcats go 3-0 on the year and now head home, we hope, for a game next week against Enterprise. Remember, Bobcats went to Enterprise last year and came up with a win. They go back home. And again, the weather forecast is for more rain, a 80 to 90% chance of rain every day this next week, which is not good for a field at Sumrall that has already taken a lot of rain. But any developments and any potential changes in location of that game, you can follow the Bobcats on all of their social media accounts at Sumrall Athletics. Sumrall Athletics is the site, the social media address for all of the information regarding Sumrall Athletics. So congratulations, Sumrall led 33-0 at half and won it tonight, and just about every player on the Sumrall roster, if not everybody, got into the contest with a 33-6 win over Sacred Heart. Thanks to all of our sponsors, including Hattiesburg Clinic Children's Clinic, for making these webcasts possible. For producer-engineer Jeremy Thompson, I'm Kelly Sander. Thanks for joining us. You have been watching Sumrall Bobcat Football on YouTube. We'll see you next Friday night at home when the Bobcats face Enterprise.